Hi everyone, good morning to you. Today I'm drinking my tea. Yes, I'm very British. I like my tea. And one of the worst things about living in Spain is that they love coffee. Well, I suppose it's not that bad. And people in England also love coffee now. When I was a boy growing up, I wasn't allowed to drink coffee living in the UK. Coffee was viewed as a narcotic. It was something bad, something which could change society. Some people living in the UK even today still don't drink coffee. Coffee was seen as a narcotic, especially for young people. So I was not allowed to drink coffee when I was growing up. My parents loved tea, and it's very British to drink tea. Today in the UK, I think probably the old people like to drink tea and the young people like to drink coffee. But some religious people are not allowed to drink coffee. There are certain religious groups who believe that coffee is so powerful and so bad for your body that it should not be allowed. Mormons, for example. The Mormon Church does not allow any caffeine. The Seventh-day Adventist Church does not like coffee. Christian Scientists don't like coffee. And these are three religious groups in the UK which actively propagate action against the coffee industry. It all seems a little bit strange, doesn't it? Because after all, it's only coffee. Anyway, I prefer my tea. One thing I really miss about the UK is my tea. One question which many people always ask me when I'm teaching is it true that British people stop what they're doing at 11 a.m. and I think it's 5 p.m. to drink tea, like some kind of active ceremony? And the answer to that is simply no. Really, we don't have time to do that. And even if we did, most of us these days would probably be drinking coffee. I don't know of any particular time when tea was so celebrated that we used to stop and drink it at 5 p.m. I do know that we have something called elevenses. Elevenses is a term used to when we have our tea at 11 a.m. Now we have our tea at 11 a.m., but it's not something which is like a religious ceremony. The whole of Britain does not stop at 11 a.m. to drink tea, but usually around 11 o'clock we have a cup of tea, because after all we started work at 9. 11 a.m. is approaching lunchtime. It's a nice time to have a cup of tea. But you know, when you work in an office in the UK, you'll be surprised to find that we don't actually have tea machines. We have coffee machines. And it's kind of very unusual to find tea in the workplace unless you somehow have a way of bringing tea in a flask, or maybe if the machine has hot water. But tea is not the ritual that it once was in British society. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of the younger people just liking coffee, or perhaps it has something to do with our relationship with India. I don't know, but tea is not the big thing that we used to make it. Another thing, I think, is the types of tea which are available. My favourite type of tea is Earl Grey. Earl Grey is a type of English tea. And this particular type of English tea is spoken about a lot throughout our tea history. Speaking of tea history, there's also a song which I think was originally recorded by Binny Hale, which was called a nice cup of tea. Now, I could sing, but all of the birds would fly away if I sang. All of the birds would fly away if I sang. Did you hear the conditional sentence? If I sang, all of the birds would fly away. If I fly away, well, if I fly away, the birds would fly away if I sang. If I sang, the birds would fly away. Yes, it's a type 2 conditional. If I sang, past, the birds would fly away, which is the second conditional. Anyway, I can give you a few notes of it, but I think it would be much better for you to look it up on Google. And it's called A Nice Cup of Tea, and it was by Binnie Hale. Binnie Hale. That's Binnie, second name Hale. Binnie Hale. Binnie Hale. And it's called A Nice Cup of Tea, and it goes something like, I like a nice cup of tea in the morning. You can hear it. You can hear it on the internet. It was recorded in the 1930s, or you can find it. I think Gracie Fields recorded it as well in the 1930s. I know it because Eddie Starts sang it as a theme tune to his long-running radio show, The Happy Station Show. It was the opening theme for The Happy Station Show for many, many years. Okay, so while I'm drinking my tea, there's a few things I wanted to tell you about today. And one of those things is reported speech. And I can hear you thinking, reported speech, that sounds a bit formal. What is it? Well, actually, reported speech is not as difficult as it sounds. Reported speech is simply when you report what someone else says. When you report what someone else says. For example, someone sent me an email this morning about their favourite music, which we'll discuss in a moment. And I can say, Julia from Brazil, she sent me an email with her favourite music. Okay, so Julia said that her favourite music is, okay, that reported speech. He said that, she said that. Yeah, so if I want to talk about what someone else is doing or saying, I simply use the verb, which is called a reporting verb. He said that, he agreed with me that, he disagreed with me about this thing. Any verb that you can use to report something which someone else said is called a reporting verb. Let's look at some examples. I went for dinner last night. The waiter said he has no tea, for example. The waiter said he has no tea. And let's look at another one. I went to the coffee shop yesterday. The waiter told me that it's cold. Okay. In a meeting at work yesterday, my colleague disagreed with me about the future of our project. Okay, so you can hear that I used the verbs to say, to tell, and then I also used the verb disagree to talk about the future of the project. Now, what you have to remember is when you use these verbs, say, tell, disagree, accept, whatever reporting verb you want to use, when you use it, the rest of the sentence changes a little bit. Let me explain. If I want to tell you something that he said that he will come at 6 o'clock. Okay? Maybe his words were not, he said he will come at 6 o'clock. His words actually were, I will come at 6 o'clock, because he said it. Okay? So I had to change the preposition away from I to make it into he. Okay? So, he said he will come at 6 o'clock they're my words telling you what he said, okay? But what he actually said is, I will come at 6. So I changed the preposition from I to he. That's one thing you have to remember when you use reported speech. The other thing you have to remember is that the tense has to be consistent. He said that he was going to the shops yesterday. He said that he was going to the shops yesterday. Okay? That's the past tense about something he was doing in the past. He said that he was going to the shops yesterday. Yeah? He said that he is playing tennis. He said that he is playing tennis. Now that's a little bit different because it's reported speech, but it's about something which is happening now. Imagine I'm sitting here with a French person, okay, and I'm translating, which is funny because I wouldn't know how to speak French. But imagine there's a French person here, and they're speaking in French. Je ne sais quoi, okay. So I'm translating for them, and I'm telling you, he says that. He says that. Okay. He says that. Now, he says that is present. And because I'm using present, I also have to check that the verb is in the correct tense. For example, he says that it is cold today. Okay? He says that he was walking in the town one day when something happened. Okay? So the second part of the sentence where the verb is doesn't necessarily have to match the first part. It doesn't have to match the tense of the reporting verb. He says that, but what it does have to do is it has to run in sequence, okay? So for example, he said that he was, both are past tense. He said that he is present. So you have to be very careful with how you work with reporting. If you're reporting something from the present, but what he's saying now, he could be saying or talking about something which happened in the past. Okay, so reported speech is about what's happened in the past, and also can be used what's happening now, to be used to talk about what's happening now. But you need to remember that it can also be a discussion now about something in the past. It's actually not that hard. It's not that hard, okay? What is hard, or a little bit more difficult, are the questions in reported speech. For example, if I ask someone directly, where do you live? I can say, I live in Spain. Okay, someone asks me the question, where do you live? I can say, I live in Spain. I live in Spain. Okay? But what if the other person is asking me something about someone else? Where did he say he lived? Oh, he said he lived in Spain. Okay, what are you doing? I am cooking dinner. What's he doing? He is cooking dinner. What did he say he was doing? He said he was cooking dinner. Okay? So the questions you have to remember in reported speech are a little bit different. What did he say about? Because you're asking, the other person is asking your opinion about the third person. Okay? So what did he say about? So for example, well, let's think of a few questions. He said he lived in Paris. What's the question for that? Where did he say he lived? He said he was cooking dinner. Where is the question for that, or what is the question for that? What did he say he was doing? He said he had visited Paris twice. What's the question? How often did he say he had visited Paris? Okay, so those are just a few examples of reported speech. and it can get a bit complicated when you use different reporting verbs. What did he say he will accept? Yeah, that's another one. So remember, you're talking about a third person, another person in the room. Okay? Just keep that in mind when you're trying to decide how to phrase a reported speech question. But that's basically it. It's not actually hard. A few days ago, I think it was, I was discussing when to use the verb to say. He said that. When to use the verb to tell. He told me that. So I just want you to keep that in mind. I just want you to keep that in mind, that we don't always use said and tell interchangeably. We use said when we're quoting exactly what someone says, and we use tell when we are giving the information but not with the person's words. For example, he said he will be here at 6. Okay. He told me he will be here this evening. Yeah. And that's why we always tell a story. We don't say a story. Okay. Because a story is usually fiction, or it's not true, or it's written in a poetic way of what actually happened. Okay. That's reported speech. So well done. And as always, if you have any questions, come back to me. Just before we finish, I did receive that information from Julia about her favourite song. And thank you, Julia. I'm just going to find it on Skype so I can share it with the nice people. Here it is. Okay, so hi Joseph, I've seen your movie about music and I would like to send you one of my favourite songs and recordings too. It is Ain't Got No, I Got Life by Nina Simone. It's a little bit old. I think this recording was taken in 1969. It is, Julia, that's a hard title, isn't it? It's called Ain't Got No, I Got Life. Ain't Got No, I Got Life. Okay, I will look for that. Ain't Got No, I Got Life. I have to say, Nina Simone is not one of my favourite singers. She's a little bit too bluesy and jazzy for me. If we're talking about the blues and jazz, I love Bessie Smith because she came from the 1930s, of course. But Ain't Got No, I Got Life, I don't know, but I'll definitely find it, Julia. And thank you for sharing that with me. Julia's in Brazil, and today she's told us about her favourite song. It is called Ain't Got No, I Got Life. What a strange title. The way you've written that, Julia, Ain't Got No / I Got Life. Well, I don't know if you know what Ain't Got No means. Ain't Got No is a colloquial English expression which means is not or has not. Yeah, but many people use it with a double negative. For example, I could say, I haven't got any potatoes. Okay, that's correct English. I do not have any potatoes, or I have not got any potatoes, okay? But if I said, I ain't got any potatoes, I'm just simply saying, I haven't got. Okay, I haven't got. But many people would say, I ain't got no potatoes, which as you know is a double negative and it makes it into a positive. Ain't is not good English. Many, particularly Southern English people, use ain't to replace the verb to be and to have. Have you seen the new movie No I Ain't? Do you have a watch? No I haven't. And also No I Ain't as well. So you will hear ain't a lot if you're coming to the south of England, particularly London, but you won't hear it in the north. It's a very old way of speaking in English, and I don't believe it ever was standard English. It was always very informal. Oi, you. No, I ain't. Get out of my pub. If you've ever watched EastEnders is a British soap opera, a British novella, as they say in Spain. It's a TV programme which usually runs daily or every second day. You can watch it free on filmon.com. EastEnders is based around the fictional area of London called Walford, and every week, Peggy, the landlady of the pub, used to scream, "Get out of my pub! No, you ain't! Get out of my pub!" You know, a very hard way of living. So, ain't tells you a lot about the person and tells you a lot about how they grew up, because it's a very particular, not rude, but it's a very particular thing which is used by a very particular class of people. No, you ain't. And it's very old. And please don't try to use it in standard English, because it's not standard and it belongs to people who have a very, very specific accents. Even I wouldn't use it because, as you know, I'm Scottish. Julia, thank you for that. How lovely. Ain't got no and I got life. I don't quite know what that means where you've written it. You've written ain't got no, and then the slash I got life. So maybe that's the whole title. I don't know, but I will check. I will check. But ain't got no is a double negative, which means I don't have. So I'm guessing she's saying she doesn't have a life, I suppose, which is an expression we use in England to say, for example, I don't have a life. I'm not a very exciting person. I'm a bit boring. A bit boring. Okay. So, Julia, thank you for that, and I will check out that wonderful Nina Simone song. If anyone else wants to share with me their favourite piece of music, do tell me. And if you want, you can also give me some lyrics and we can look at them together. I know Marta from the UK and I were looking through some lyrics of a song by the Tubes. I don't remember the name of it. I think, no, I don't remember the name, but we were examining some lyrics of the Tube together, or the Tubes, which was a band from the 1970s or 1980s America. It was absolutely amazing. I couldn't understand a lot of them. A bit strange, but anyway, that's all for today. So nice to see you all. Remember, please, to send me information about your favourite pieces of music. If they are particularly fantastic, then I will post them. I will post the video. Nina Simone, I ain't got no, I got life. Well, she should be shot for using such bad English. But anyway, do remember to check me out on Facebook, please. Do like my Facebook page, please. Facebook.com English with Joseph. And also, you can now like pages on Dailymotion, which is good as well if you want to do that. Many people are asking me if it's possible to podcast this, if these video clips could somehow be on iTunes or somehow be made more available on podcasters. The answer to that is yes. You can make Dailymotion feeds into podcasts if you want. If you go to dailymotion.com/user/RSS/English with Joseph, you'll get the RSS feeds. And if you do that, you can add this to any of your podcasts. I don't know what you call them, podcast providers, podcast programs, podcast software. If you didn't catch it, you can Google it. It's very easy. Dailymotion and YouTube can easily be placed onto any podcast feeds. I know I use many of the Dailymotion ones on my iTunes account. You know, iTunes, well, the iPad and iPhone comes equipped with a podcast feature. So you can download me there if you want, if you put in the RSS feed. Okay, but you can check in Dailymotion. Can I ask you please also to check out my blog, which is englishwithjoseph.wordpress. No, it's not. englishwithjosephblog.wordpress.com. I also have my Amazon books, which you can download. I'm on Google+. I'm on Twitter, McTaggartJ7. So there's plenty of ways in which you can interact with me. Okay, enjoy your day, and we will talk tomorrow. Thank you, and goodbye.